Ivo Hikonoka loved the library. The smell of old paper, the quiet rustle of turning pages, the way sunlight slanted through the high windows. It was his sanctuary. He felt more at home among the towering shelves than he ever did in his cramped apartment. Today, he was searching for a specific book on ancient mythology. But as he rounded a corner, his eyes fell on a volume unlike any he'd seen before. It was bound in thick black leather, its surface cold and slightly damp. The title of the book was called What's Scarier Than Any Horror Monster. It had no author, just an unsettling, almost obscene bas-relief of a giant female eye staring out from the cover, showing a city in absolute shambles. Ivo hesitated, then, drawn by a force he couldn't explain, he reached out and took the book. As he opened it, an odor of chemicals like decaying poison flowers wafted up. The pages were thick parchment, the text handwritten in a spidery script like the person who wrote it was insane. The words were in a language he didn't recognize, yet somehow, he understood. The book spoke of giantesses, monstrous women of immense size and power, each with her own unique brand of supernatural abilities and psychopathic tendencies. They were not just regular giants, but entities that lived in the psyche of their victim. Growing more powerful as the victim gets weaker, he then saw an event where all women transformed into these creatures. The dark day that this happened was called the Monster Dala event. It showed a picture of an unsettling mechanical heart machine. What it talked about seemed unsettlingly real. The scariest thing is some of the pictures resembled some of the people he knew, like his younger sister Daisy Hikonoka and his detective friend Piper Tillman. Ivo felt a chill run down his spine. He tried to close the book, but it wouldn't budge, like something supernatural kept it open. He pulled harder, his heart pounding, and finally, it slammed shut with a growl. He gasped, dropping the book as if it bit into him. He backed away, shaken to his core. He knew with chilling certainty that he had stumbled upon something evil. It was supernatural. Disturbing, the images felt so real, like he lived these moments in his dark subconscious, his dreams and nightmares. The Monster Dala monsters, they were always there in his mind. Now, they will become real. Ivo left the library that day. The image of the giant eye seared into his mind. It looked like it was watching him. He tried to forget about the book, to dismiss it as some strange, macabre joke or something fake. He laughed it off. Giant girls couldn't possibly exist, unless a mind could be so powerful to bring them to life. But the memory lingered, a dark stain on his thoughts. He couldn't shake the feeling that something had awakened within him, something dark and psychologically terrifying. Just a week later, Ivo was walking home from a late shift at the bookstore when a car jumped the curb. A mysterious man that looked like his father was inside. He barely had time to register the screech of tires before everything went gray. He woke up for a second, seeing 3 men in white hazmat suits surrounded him, dragging him into the darkness. Ivo then blacked out. He woke up in the hospital, his body aching, his mind clouded with painkillers. The doctors said he was lucky to be alive. They said he'd make a full recovery. But they were wrong. Damn wrong. The accident had fractured something deeper than bone. It had cracked open the protective shell around Ivo's mind of being able to tell fantasy from reality, allowing the nightmares to seep in. They started slowly, whispers of unease at the edge of sleep. Then they grew, taking on monstrous forms, drawn from the pages of the cursed book. Each nightmare featured one of the giantesses in random events, grotesque and terrifying, creating horror monsters resembling giant women created by Ivo's mind himself. The book's evil transition into Ivo's psyche was complete. They loomed over him, their voices like grinding stone, their touch like fire and ice. They taunted him, threatened him, and worst of all, they wore the faces of people he knew. His friends, his family, even his teacher, twisted into monstrous parodies of themselves. They were figments, playthings, and monster dolls in a sick game. Ivo quickly learned that sleep offered no escape, only a descent back and forth into a personal hell where he was killed and treated as a toy, gaining immortality, a power that eventually anyone would despise if your immortal life is hell. He began to dread the night, the slow creep of darkness that heralded the return of the giantesses, with more psychopathy growing in every dream. He tried to fight the nightmares to stay awake, but sleep always claimed him in the end, dragging him back to their clutches. You think you can hide, Ivo? You can't escape what's inside you. Piper, his detective friend, had transformed into something monstrous, so as his sister, who turned into a tyrant who sold her soul to the devil. Towering above him, she wore her pink detective uniform. Her lips, usually stretched in a warm smile, were now twisted into a cruel, disturbing grin. Her voice, normally a soothing balm, boomed like thunder and soothing honey, each word a hammer blow to his sanity. But it was her feet that truly terrified him, and how she taunted him with it. It was her weapon that she used to feel like a god. Him and his younger sister didn't get along. Daisy was arrogant, sadistic, and highly intelligent. She used to be sweet. But something changed her. She saw a vision of having ultimate power, and it had completely taken her over. Her size dwarfed him like he was an ant. Her black pigtails, gray eyes, and brown skirt with white square designs on her dress made her look like a beautiful monster. The 14-year-old girl treated her brother like a toy, throwing him around and taunting him, threatening to crush him. He then had another terrifying dream of a girl named Courtney Keys. She was completely insane and wanted to feed on Evo's nightmares, to make him her toy. That she can hear him scream, it was her lullaby. Then there was Scarlet Thornhook, a creature that never existed in his universe. Her voice was unending hell in itself. She would constantly talk, but everything she said, even her jokes, were deeply malicious and evil. Evo felt his sanity breaking. Every whimper, every cry for help made the giantess monsters more powerful, bigger, more insane.